Hello everyone. Today we are doing one skit role play. Why? Because in civil services we have GS4 with its ethics paper, whereby there will be case studies. We have to solve ethical dilemma. We took one ethical dilemma whereby a road contractor as well as an IAS officer, there is a concept of collusive bribery, and here we will be discussing about the ethical dilemma, how to solve it, and we are doing the real skit here. So we will start. Please, we will start the session.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's so pathetic that we met in here like this. Today, we assemble here with the problem of road damages. How can a newly laid road damages can happen within this short period? I, as a major citizen, on behalf of public, would like to question my state. Is it the contractor or is it the IAS officer? Was there any collusive bribery? We, as a public, would like to know why the roads had been damaged within this short period. The amount given for the project was sufficient enough to have a good roads, but the public is not satisfied with the roads that got laid and got damaged within this short period. The honorable judges and court I'd like to know the truth and give the decision to the public. Thank you.
We are accepting the case. I hand over the case to public prosecutor. Public prosecutor, you may proceed.
Good afternoon to everyone. I call up IAS officer and the advocate for forwarding the case.
Good afternoon, honorable judges. Myself, IAS officer Sonika Thakur. प्रोसिक्यूशन मैम की पूरी बात सुनने के बाद मैं ये कहूँगी कि जो भी ब्राइबरी का जो इल्ज़ाम है मुझ पे लगाया गया है वो बेबुनियाद है, और मैं यही कहूँगी कि मेरे एंटायर करियर में, मेरे 10 साल के करियर में आज तक मुझ पर 1 रुपये का भी ऐसा कोई करप्शन चार्ज नहीं लगा है। और मैं यही कहूँगी कि अगर आपको लगता है कि मैंने करप्शन की है या मेरा कोई फॉल्ट है, सो प्लीज़ प्रूफ लेकर आइए और मुझे गिल्टी साबित करिए।
I call up the contractor and advocate for forwarding the case.
Hello everyone present here. Myself Ravi Teja. I am a well-known contractor from this field from past 20 years. I am working in this field from past 20 years. I have so many projects which are done under the government, which are Golden Quadrant projects, expressways. You can check my track record. Every project which I work with have good intent and good quality. You can check my track record. Mr. Petitioner and Ms. Sonika Thakur is making false allegations on me. This is my version of the case.
May I please the court? I am the counsel for the appellant. As the court is well versed with the facts of the case, the counsel for the appellant would like to proceed with the issues and arguments.
Yes, go on.
My client, Mr. Ravi Teja, who is being accused of giving bribe to the quality check officer, Ms. Sonika. But the truth is that, how do you prove a bribery case? Here I want to substantiate the argument with High Court Judge Delhi in the Bharatwaj Media Case 2007. Observe that a bribe giver is always under the mercy of officers. He is under the pressure of the officer. Even for the lawful work he is doing, still because of the pressure he used to give bribe, and such of the things are very much crucial as it affects the morale of the contractor. And as part of my client is an innocent person, so also this is not his first road contract. He has been working in the contract since 20 years, worked in 10 road contract projects, and the quality of the road was nowhere compromised. Not only this, my client has been awarded with Construction World Global Award. Accusing such road contractors of laying bad quality roads or giving bribe, don't you think that it would affect public-private relationship? Don't you think that it would affect ease of doing business? Don't you think that it would affect the morale of my client? And here I want to say that when the equation is turning about bribe giving and bribe taking. The focus should be on both sides. But the simple logic that I want to say is no supply will ever exist without a demand for it. There was a demand from Miss Sonika, because of which, maybe under pressure or under harassment, my client would have given bribe. And I strongly suspect that Miss Sonika and petitioner like Mr. Kesava, they have willingly destructed the road in order to ask for bribe and blackmail my client, and if bribe not given, laid a false accusation and false case against my client. And according to the economic survey of 2019, there is a much need of private investment, and as long as people like these people, Kesava and Miss Sonika, will be accusing on my client, how come a private contractor will come forward and invest his private amount in government contract, waiting such long for bills to be sanctioned and getting accused by false allegation? Is it a good thing? Obviously a big no. It is a shame for the society that these people are accusing a contractor who is coming forward and laying down his private investment and waiting for such long with patience. And one more thing I want to mention here, that collusive bribery, you said, right? Collusive bribery, that word is completely redundant and unhelpful. It is not collusive bribery, because laying the word collusive in front of the word bribery or corruption is totally not true, because it is rather opportunistic. You are trying to prove that it is endemic, but it's not endemic, it's isolated and opportunistic. You took the opportunity, you took the advantage of the opportunity and laid false allegation on my client, blackmailed him and asked for bribe. And because of this reason, under IPC section, under IPC section 13 subsection 1 of Prevention of Corruption Act 1988, public official who accept or agrees to accept gratification other than legal remuneration shall be punishable minimum 6 months and maximum 7 years. And also based on IPC section 468, forgery in purpose of cheating, IPC section 201, giving false information to screen offender, IPC section 409, any public servant committing breach of trust in respect of property, which law punishes a public servant. And I plead before the court to convict the accused, because justice makes democracy possible and inclination to justice makes democracy necessary. So that concludes my submission for the day. Thank you.
I call upon IAS officer advocate Madhur Chobe to forward the case.
So, Ravi Teja, you are the contractor. So tell me about your experience in working government contracts.
I had an experience of
easy
20 years
Yes.
on government
Is it
projects.
easy to get a government contract, or else it is difficult?
Sarcastically, you are saying that it is very easy. You are telling it is very easy. It is very difficult. You require so much of waiting skills and so much of previous project experience. Then only you can go for government projects. I was worked on so many expressways and all. There are so many private players which are involved in it. So many millions of dollars which we are using from government. So it required much experience to do that.
Now, tell the court that is there any force from the side of this IS officer on you? Is there any forcing?
Yes, it was forcible and harassment.
Okay, so why didn't you went to higher authorities?
See, going higher authorities is second step, but if a case on file on you on the bribery case, the case is revolves around you. It will affect our future projects, and it will put a black mark on your career.
So on the behalf of my client, I want to prosecute that Section 197 of Criminal Procedure Code 1973 is set out to provide protection to public servant, and says that it is not, and says when a person who is or was a judge or a magistrate or a public officer, not removal from his or her office save by or with the sanction of the government, is accused by any offense at least to have been committed by him while acting or purporting to act in the cognizance of such offense, except with the previous sanction. I want to bring out some Supreme Court judgments also in this regard. In Mahmudan and Mehboob Khan Pathan versus State of Maharashtra case in 1997, Supreme Court held that the word gratification used in the Prevention of Corruption Act 1947 held according to Oxford Advanced Learning Dictionary, the word gratification means give pleasure or satisfaction to. The word is used in section 4, clause 1 to denote acceptance of something to the pleasure or satisfaction of the recipient. Another case in Madhukar Bhaskar Rao Joshi versus the state of Maharashtra in 2000, it was held by Supreme Court that the word gratification must be treated in the context to mean any payment for giving satisfaction to the public servant who received it. In this context, the meaning of the word accept can also be looked into because it will further clarify the import of the word gratification. Accept means to take willingly something that is offered. Unless something is offered, there can't be acceptance. Therefore, it is if a person merely receives something from another without there being an offer later it not be accepted. Therefore, to hold that an accused accepted any gratification under Section 7 of the PCA Act, prosecution must prove that something was offered by the person to accused for something and willingly he accepted it to took the same from such person, and in taking such thing he gained some pleasure and satisfaction. Here keyword is pleasure and satisfaction. Such facts have to be proven either by direct or circumventive. Uh, my my client Sonika is an honest, hardworking, efficient public officer. He has no track record of corruption case. Contractor has thus forced him to take bribery for his own benefits by threatening my client, as contractors have having political as well as criminal contacts. So it is my request to Honorable Court, please do justice to this honest officer and verdict some provisions to protect such officers in future. I also want to conclude my argument by highlighting the recommendations of second ARC regarding protection of honest civil servants. Every allegation of corruption against a public officer must be examined in depth at the initial stage itself before initiating any inquiry. In matters of allegation of corruption, open inquiry should not be taken up straightway on basis of complaints. This might cause impact on morals of officer. The evaluation of result of verification should be done in the competent and just manner. Secrecy must be maintained. And at last, I also request the courts. It's the responsibility of the court to provide justice. And that's it. Thanks.
Objection, Your Honor. I believe that the opposing counsel has misquoted the fact and I would like to clear it. A public servant will not be charged of taking a bribe if he proves that he did not perform his function dishonestly. But the term has nowhere been defined under which circumstances a action taken by public servant will be regarded as honest is completely unclear. Thank you, sir.
I call upon Public Prosecutor 1 for forwarding the case.
So, my learned defense counsels have very well given their arguments. So, with this, we can very well establish that this is a case of collusive bribery. So, further, none of the accused on either side reported the incident. So, with this, I would like to thank Mr. Keshav to bring this up here. The other advocates representing the accused have very well quoted the sections of Prevention of Corruption Act. So I do not want to reiterate them again and again. So considering this case, sir, in any corrupt transaction, there are basically two parties. One is the bribe giver and then the bribe taker. So in one category, the bribe is a victim of extortion. He is compelled to pay for a very simple service because if he does not, then he ends up losing much more than the bribe. Besides this, there is another category of cases where the bribe giver and the bribe taker together flees the society. And the bribe giver is as guilty or even more guilty than the bribe taker. So this basically results into a very substandard work, distortion of competition, robbing the public exchequer, tax evasion, and causing direct harm to the people. So with this, therefore, there is a very systematic reform which is required here. So I would like to reiterate the recommendations of second ARC on collusive corruption itself, which is that the Section 7 of Prevention of Corruption Act must add up this word where collusive bribery becomes an offense. So this is very much required. And the other one is the punishment of all such cases of collusive bribery should be double that of other cases, because this will act as a deterrence for both the giver and the taker. And then the other one is the provision for creation of liability in cases where the public servants cause loss to the state State by these malified actions. So with this, sir, I rest my case, and both the bribe taker and bribe giver are equally responsible. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Public Prosecutor. Again, I will forward it to the Public Prosecutor too.
I begin my arguments with the enlightening question: if the corruption is a disease, then the transparency and the accountability is the line of treatment. But here it is lacking. With reference to the Whistleblower Protection Act 2014, it establishes a mechanism to receive the complaints which is related to the disclosure of the allegations of the corruption against any public servant and to cause to an inquiry to such disclosure. So in this instance, I want to appreciate Mr. Keshava for filing this bill and raise the voice against the corruption, and thereby taking one step forward to create the transparency here. And the court appreciates the youth coming forward to challenge the corruption in any way. So after studying all the movements and the materials in the courtroom, I just want to realize the values and the duties of both the IAS officer and also the builder here, because the nexus of the corruption has been happened here. Next, the public corruption hold the value of the public interest over the private interest. His actions, your actions and the duties and also the thoughts in the public sphere should benefit the public in the lodge, but not ourselves, right? And if the public service gets corrupt, it flourishes the corruption in your organization. And this leads to weakening the moral fabric of the organization and eventually the moral fabric of our country and the nation. And if you are the district magistrate is the first citizen of the district. If you did the corruption, then your fellow subordinates will also follow your footsteps and finally become the corruption is inevitable. And coming to the contractor, in my view, the contractor is playing a very major role in nation building, because they take up the social infra projects and in desire of the higher profits and form the nexus and bypasses the audit process. The contractor should have the ethical and the moral conduct nature here. So as my fellow public prosecutor Trisha Rai mentions, this represents the case of collusive bribery and should tackle this with the iron hand, because without this it will become the detrimental to the development of the nation. And though this the amount of rupees 50,000 involved here as a corruption, it is the public money which is rooted in the black. As the corruption root cause lies in the greed and the poor ethics and the laws, the public money should be audited very properly. And the honorable judges should take the cognizance and the merit of this case, as it is the case of the collusive bribe, and ensure both the bribe giver and the bribe taker gets punishment according to the respectable laws. With this, I rest the case with the honorable judges to give a fair judgment that creates a very good faith in the public. Thank you, my honors.
Okay, after listening to both sides of the argument, I'd like to show you the actual scenario, what is happening around us. Look at the street vegetable vendor after losing his 17-year-old son in a road accident. Because of improper roads full of potholes on the road, he has lost his son. From the very day, he is trying to repair the roads as much as he can. At the same time, another father, he has lost his 3-year-old son in a road accident with the same reason. Then what is the reason? Actually, there is a report given by Ministry of Highways and Road Transport. According to the report, in last year, nearly 1.5 lakh of people have died in road accidents. Okay, accidents might be happening not only because of overspeed or improper safety measures, but there is an underlying fact that accidents are happening because of poor quality roads. Okay, in global scenario, we are just accounting for 1% of the vehicles. But yet, we are having 11% of the global deaths due to the accidents around the globe. What is the reason? The reason is there is a nexus between the politicians, bureaucrats, and as well as contractors. Because of their corrupted system, lethargic and irresponsible attitudes, there is a huge output. There is a inqualitative output in this. Always try to remember one thing. There has to be, there is a conflict of interest between private and public interest. But when it comes to such situation, public interest has to be prevailed. Okay, Mr. Contractor, you had a, like someone is asking you the bribe. You have to make a wise call. For example, you can approach to the ACP and you can lodge a complaint. At the same time, you can go to a nearby police station or you can directly approach to the court. If at all you are not doing this and accepting, or if at all you are not accepting this and you are directly giving a bribe to an official, eventually it is leading to a corruption and it leads to improper quality of the roads. Eventually, the public are the one who are at the suffering end. At the same time, bureaucrat. See, if at all someone is offering you the bribe, you're not only breaking the law, as well as you're breaking your moral values, as well as the oath you have taken before getting into the service. If at all you're not accepting the bribe, the only consequence you can have is either there can be a transfer or you can be posted into a loop line. Try to accept it with a pride, because an honest officer, I think it is the biggest medal to any honest officer. Okay? And moreover, for every 4 minutes, a person is dying. In last 10 years, nearly 15 lakh people have died in an accident, which is equivalent to any district's population or any small Balkan country's population. So it is very much bigger than any pandemic still we are facing. So finally, I'd like to say you one thing. We do right things for a wrong reason and wrong things for a right reason. But always try to remember, our ends and our means has to be in accordance with the law, and public interest should be our utmost priority. Because if at all any single malpractice or single corruption we are doing, it is resulting into a multi-dimensional impact onto the people. So whenever we are trying to do our duty, we have to do it with utmost responsibility and with utmost consciousness, because public are the one who are going to suffer. Okay? Now I'd like to request Judge number 2, Gayatri, to explain about Prevention of Corruption Act.
So, as per the case file submitted by the coordinators in this conference, I would like to emphasize 2 phrases here, that corruption has become a menace to the society and injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So, I certify from the views established by Judge Abdul, that as per the Prevention of Corruption Act in our country. Now, what is Prevention of Corruption Act? First of all, it criminalizes the undue advantage that is received by the public servant. The offences which come under this act are, first one, the dishonest nature that is being exhibited by the public servant by receiving the undue advantage. And the second thing is the criminal misconduct of the public servant by having the disproportionate assets. So, by following the Prevention of Corruption Act, the country is progressing in a good manner. But remember, a sound from a clap doesn't get bigger or louder only with one hand. Only when the 2 hands join each other, the sound gets louder. In the similar way, not only the bribe giver, not only the bribe taker, the giver has to be equally punished. So with this regard, the changes are being made in Prevention of Corruption Act 1988, and we have amended that in 2018. Now under this, the bribe giver also comes under the ambit of criminal conspiracy, and he will be also charged under the Criminal Conspiracy Act. Now what? Under Section 17 of Prevention of Corruption Act 2018, the prior approval of the competent authority is required to penalize or to prosecute the public servant. Now, why did we bring this? Because not to protect the public servant who has been corrupted, but to maintain the integrity of the service, to respect the service. I repeat, this doesn't get applied to the bribe giver. I repeat it once again that this doesn't get applied to the bribe giver. Now, let us elucidate with 2 judgments. Judgment number 1, Tina Joshi versus State of Madhya Pradesh 2014. An IAS couple of 1977 batch had been found guilty of corruption. According to income tax right, a pecuniary amount of 200 crores along with a confiscating of 20 crore money has been found in their house, which was 315% higher than their income sources. Now, instead of serving as a a real example. As mentioned by our public prosecutor, public servants are the primary citizens of any district or a state. But instead of serving as a moral examples, they have become a threat to the democracy and society. Now they have been charged under Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Now let us have a positive outlook by considering the other case, other judgment, that is Jitendra Gupta versus State of Bihar in 2016. He was an IAS officer of 2013 batch. Now what had happened to him? He had found that something is really bothering in overloading of vehicles in the interstate border of Bihar. Now, what happened? The mafia filed false allegations against Jitendra Gupta and he was being charged under remand for 1 month. Now, he was such an honest officer, he had to face the ugly side of the system in the earlier career. So, he was very eager to serve the public, but he was being charged under the false allegations. Now, he was such an honest officer that not only the Patna High Court but also the Supreme Court along with all the IAS officers association had tried to save him and got him back from this frivolous charges. Now did you observe? Public servant and the contractor, did you observe? This is an ethical example. This is a moral example. This sets out a good example of how you need to act in the public. So the cascading effect of the collusive bribery may result in a larger damage to the society, as quoted by Abdul, that 1.5 lakh people are dying just because of road accidents that were made out of no quality check roads. So I would like to say, now with this regard, keeping this in view, I would like to say, so in circumstances taking into account the seriousness of allegations leveled against the applicant, I am of the considered view that even this case has to be lined parallelly to Tina Joshi case. Yeah, thank you.
Ram Narayan.
Sir, from the above proceeding in the case by the public prosecutors and lawyers, I established a fact and taken into consideration of Honorable Judge Abdul Sir and Honorable Judge Gayatri Madam. According to Prevention Act 1988, if a public official is taking gratification other than legal remuneration, will face 6 months to 5 years of imprisonment, provided with evidence like video clips on unwanted cash transactions. According to Section 7, criminal offense also applied. In 2013, PCA was amended for 2 charges, like illicit enrichment of wealth to one's own income and other one fraudulent misappropriation of property. Also, within 7 days of bribery, if a person approached to any law enforcement will not face any corruption act. In 2018, PCA was again amended that it was a direct offense. Both bribe taker and bribe giver will be punished from 3 years to 7 years. If it also redefines criminal misconduct to misappropriation of property and possession of disproportionate of assets. Undue advantage also established when a public official will be prosecuted. Sir, 1 second, my battery is down. Yes, sir. So undue advantage also established when a case is carried out against a public official. So there should be proof for bribe taking of the officials and it will be a vital part of the case and submitted in the set time. Also, the past performance of an official will be required to submit for the proceeding. Till then, we should not forget that corruption is one type of cancer and should be eradicated from our country. Keep in mind that a honest officer should not be punished without any proof. And investigation of contractor, if any, for his past performance be noticed to the court as soon as possible. Now, till then, the official can continue in service. Now, I hand over the case to Vishnu sir for the final verdict. Thank you, sir.
After hearing the arguments of the petitioner side, Keshava, as well as the bribe giver, contractor and the bribe taker, IAS officer, Sonika Thakur, and the respective advocates and the respectable public prosecutors and the Justice Abdul, Justice Gayatri and the Justice Ram Narayan, hereby the verdict Here the 5 factors are involved in this, 5 ethical factors. One is public money, other is public interest, collusive bribery, integrity on the working of an IAS officer, and the private interest of contractor. These are the 5 factors which are involved in this particular case. And coming to the sections, Prevention of Corruption Act is involved. Section 420, why? Because it might be the force by the Sonika Thakur onto the contractor, or else extortion by the contractor onto the IAS officer in order to have their private interest. On this particular issue, as rightly told by the Justice Ram Narayan Jina, corruption is a cancer. As told by Justice Abdul, that 1.5 lakh people are subjected to road accidents because of the poor quality of the roads, because of the nexus between the politician, the bureaucrat, as well as the contractor. And as rightly said by the Justice Gayatri, that there is a need for a law whereby the collusive bribery should come to an end. From this particular context, I am coming to the conclusion that there is a need for a strong, stringent action if any such action comes up in the future, that whereby an IAS officer, if threatens the contractor for the money, or here if the contractor for his private benefit try to bribe the IAS officer. In this context, there is a ethical dilemmas are involved, and the final judgment will lies with the people. Why? Because here it's not a moot court whereby we will be not coming up with a judgment. Hereby we will be coming with the ethical dilemmas which are involved in this particular case. By this, we will be ending up the session. Thank you.
Here I would like to mention a quotation given by William Shakespeare. Honesty is the best policy. If I lose mine honor, I lose myself. So, my dear civil servant aspirants who are preparing for UPSC civil services, honesty is the best medal that you can get, because money or corruption, wherever you go, you will get. But honesty is the thing, it is very much important to be in one's personality, because of which ethics like 250 marks, that much of importance UPSC is giving. By there itself, we can know how much it is important to be honest. Other papers, GS1, GS2, GS3, that all paper constitute of 250 mark, but only ethics paper is constituting of 250 mark. So ethical values is being given how much importance by UPSC, that you can understand very easily. That's what I want to say to the UPSC civil servant or future officers. That's what is my point. Thank you.
As we have showcased in our role play, corruption has become a menace to the society and it is a cancer. So I would like to say that the public servants has to maintain probity and fortitude in their actions and in their duty, and equally the contractors or the public need to be much more aware that corruption is not at all good to a society. And for the civil servants, for the civil servant aspirants also, we need to be very much ethical in our preparation, and we need to be very sincere. The ethics paper itself states us and makes us learn that. So I would like to say that corruption is not at all good, and we need not encourage that in any kind of situation. Thank you.
From this role play, I want to conclude that whosoever is preparing for UPSC, they have to be honest towards their profession. He or she must say no to corruption. Corruption affects the society a lot. We have to be honest with our profession and always say no to corruption. Corruption grows at the cost of citizens' democracy. India stands at 84th position in the report of Transparency International. It is the part of every citizen to say no to corruption and helps in nation building, because as we all know that honesty is the best policy. Thank you and Jai Hind.